Welcome and thank you for joining us for Chamber Talks. I'm Director of the Fairfield Media Center, Jason Strong, and I am here today with Mindy McAdams, Director of the Fairfield Area Chamber of Commerce. That's a mouthful.
It's such a Wednesday.
It is a Wednesday, and as people may not know, we record these kind of pre-done. They're not live, kind of the way they used to be over at KMCD. But we've got a lot going on. By the time this airs, the candidate forum will be done and over with.
We'll be done. Yay.
Yes. If it sounds like that's exhausting, it's because it is.
It's because we do a lot of events, and there's very little room between our events a lot of times. And as politics go, people become passionate. And for the chamber, we see our role as an educational component to elections. We are not here to tell you who's good and who's bad or who does whatever. We're just here to educate the population. And so we pick our questions, and we pick our questions based on what our members find important. We don't do questions from the audience because if you go to our legislative forums, you understand why. And unfortunately, politics just brings out the passion in people, and it becomes exhausting, honestly. And so in reaching out to all the candidates, we then also found out that there will be a name on the ballot who doesn't actually want to be on the ballot anymore. So Matt Johnson, who was running for Ward 2, just decided that it's just not the right time for him. And that's awesome. We appreciate him for understanding that and having the self-reflection to do that. But it does cause confusion for voters. So we've been really working hard to put that information out, and we will talk about it again tonight. We also think that the bond issue is an important one. We want people to have facts. So we asked the superintendent to present that because he legally cannot sway votes. He can't be pro or con. He is fact-based only. So our event is all about facts. It's about the candidates giving their views on the topics that are important, and it's about the voter being educated.
And if you're tuning in to the candidate forum after tonight, obviously, FMC is planning to be there to live stream it. So it will be available on our YouTube channel, which if you type in Fairfield Media Center, Fairfield, Iowa, we should be one of the first things that pulls up. And so you can find that plus city council meetings, chamber talks, Traction Thursdays,
supervisors,
all sorts of great local content.
And I'll just say, if you feel like things you don't know what's happening, you need to watch all of those. One of the things that we've really stressed in our leadership class is being an informed citizen. You can't have your head in the ground and then get mad when you don't know that something happens. All of these meetings are open to the public. There are things that happen in city council and at the county of supervisors that directly influence you, the person that lives in Fairfield. So just because you didn't watch it and you didn't know, that's still going to affect you. So it's really important. They are long. There's lots of things in them that, maybe do not affect you at all. But it's all important information. And it's really important to just be informed. You can't get mad about things if you don't have correct, accurate information.
And those city council meetings, we also live stream those as well. And then Werner, well, we had the mishap at this last one, which honestly was probably my mess up.
You know what? So, sometimes I know internet is funky.
Internet can be very funky, especially when you're dealing with high quality video. But Werner Elmker does the community dialogues for the Fairfield Media Center, and he hosts those, which Connie Boyer and other city members get on, and they talk about what's going on. Connie just talked to me recently about restarting a previous show that we had called City Biz, which Michael Howley had started over at Crew FM, and then we eventually took over. And
I loved that.
So we're going to be firing that back up as well to make sure the community has that shorter format, engaging type platform so that we can help get those things out into the community. Speaking of community stuff, I know the chamber has always got stuff going on.
Oh my goodness. So next week, I'm super excited, is our Manufacturers Appreciation Luncheon. We have a really robust manufacturing sector in our chamber, and we really appreciate them. They're always our go-to. They sponsor events. They're just wonderful. And so their appreciation luncheon, their keynote speaker will be Governor Kim Reynolds. And we want to say thank you to Nate Wheaton at Wheaton Companies for making that happen for us. And Carl A. Nelson and Wheaton Companies and Dexter Laundry and ServPro are the reason that we have every manufacturer can send as many people as they would like, and they get to attend for free. Anyone outside of the manufacturing sector can attend for a ticket price of $50. The Country Club, which is where we've always traditionally had it, has just gotten kind of small for us. 100 people packed in that little room is a little tight.
That's a good problem to have.
It is a great problem to have, but we really wanted to make sure that we're still supporting them, so they will be catering our event, and it'll be at the convention center.
Awesome.
And then it's Tricks or Treats time, so get signed up to be in the merchant trick or treat list. Keep in mind, it is a school day. So if you are only open like we are from 9 to 3, you will only get little kids, homeschool kids, those sorts of things. The kids are in school until 3:30. So make sure that if you are able to stay open a little late to give those kiddos stuff, we put our stuff out in the atrium area that's open 24/7 because I need to go home and take my own little small human tricks or treating.
Trick or treating is awesome. I know my kids did it, or they did it all the way through high school. My youngest is still in high school, but and I know when I went trick or treating, I did it all through high school. So it's a great time to get out there. But again, a reminder: be safe. There are cars. Make sure your kids can be seen. There are streets in this town that get packed with cars.
Yes.
And things like that, and it can be a little dicey at times. So Please make sure you're being safe this holiday season with trick or treating, and yeah.
And then it's just a little short hop, skip, and a jump right into the holiday season, which means the Tree of Lights campaign comes out to support Christmas on the holiday tradition on the square. And fun facts, we are shaking things up a little bit this year.
That's what I've heard.
So we have partnered with our friends at the Skills USA Club at the high school. We love you guys. You are our favorite. They make 1,000 ornaments for the Santa's workshop. They took the elf hut, which... from my understanding of the where that came from, it used to be in Midwest One Bank in the open foyer area, and then they didn't want it anymore, and they gave it to us, and we stuck it outside. Well, it wasn't really weatherproof. So the kids have completely taken it apart, and they are cleaning the wood, saving what they can. The roof is totally shot, so we will have a new roof, but we are using shaker shingles or sugar shingles, or I don't know. It's a thing that makes it look old-fashioned, which is we're an old-fashioned Christmas. It's perfect. And the elves need a lot of love. They definitely are showing their age. So thankfully, our artist who comes and fixes some of our other things when they get dinged up thinks he can rebuild their hands and rebuild their arms and put some new clothes on them and update them. So we're super excited to see what that looks like in the end. So we will eventually put them back in their house, put their house back together, and it will be back on the square. There will be some other big announcements, and you can buy a piece of the holiday tradition on the square. As we retire pieces, we want people who have sentimental attachment to them to be able to take them home and continue to give them love. We just can't, some of them are just beyond repair for us, and we already spend between $1,000 and $5,000 every year just maintaining what we currently have on the square. So new things are coming. There's a big shipment coming tomorrow, so maybe tomorrow we can do some reveal, or in the, Friday maybe. So I'm very excited for that.
Definitely looking forward to it. It's always great seeing the community workers and volunteers out there hanging the decorations and getting things all set for the holiday lights ceremony.
We have to give a big shout out to Joe Hurd and the streets department. They are my Christmas elves. I think they love Christmas. I hope they love Christmas. They spend a lot of time out there making sure that everything is just right and it looks good, it's safe. And so we really appreciate all that they do for us. And the holiday lighting ceremony is on Black Friday. And I just ordered more candles because we got feedback we didn't have enough candles last year. So I think we've got like 300 now. So make sure and get there. 5:30 is the start for holiday lighting, and we'll talk more about that later. But my friend Bob Ferguson is here.
Indeed.
My friend Bob Ferguson wears too many hats, so we had to meet yesterday to say which hats are we talking about.
So many hats.
So we're
and he's adding
on
one
here
more
so you can see all my hats.
Yes. So we are going to start with Bob Ferguson. You are the most energetic person that I've ever met. You make me look like I'm taking naps over here, and you're exhausting. And
Well, I'm sorry.
In a good way. In a good way.
So why is that?
Well, okay. Quite a number of things. But I have been using a lot of nutritional supplements since I was 22 years old. Now, a lot of you out there know that I am the Shackley guy because I am the mother of Kay Ferguson, who was the Shackley lady. But very seriously, it's really, really important that our systems don't go into deficit. If we don't have what our cells need to make healthy cells, it makes not so healthy cells. And it's not that easy to do it with your knife and fork. And so I suggest everyone do what I do. At least put a baseline on your nutritional program by having a really good multi-mineral multivitamin. I do a lot more than that. And I do it because it works for me. So that's the first thing that I do. The second thing that I do is I take care of my physical health. I have been a little bit busy, so I've dialed my workout schedule back to 3 times a week, but it's going to go back to 5 times a week. And lots of different things, cardio, balance, strength, particularly as we age. It gets so important to do one crucial thing, and that is to squeeze your muscles. If you squeeze your muscles, if you use resistance, then it helps your bone strength, it helps keep osteoporosis at bay, but it does a whole lot of other things. So go find someone there's all kinds of great gyms. I love Impact Fitness. Joe Weaver is here, Boom Fitness, or lots of online programs. But take that seriously. And even if you're old, hey, I'm 75? Is that old? No, it's not old. But it used to be old. I mean, I remember when 35 used to be old. Yeah. So
I'm beyond that already.
Yeah, we're way beyond that. Seriously, no matter what our age is, we can start making better cells. And that determines everything about every aspect of our body because we're remaking ourselves all the time. We're a river, not a rock. So good nutrition, squeezing your muscles, balance, cardio, exercising. And if you just take a brisk walk every day, 15, 20 minutes, even 10 minutes of walking, just do something to move your body. The other thing, NEAT. You ever heard of NEAT? Non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
Never heard of it.
Now, what the heck is that? Well, if you look at the actual number of calories that you burn during the day, and you look at how much you burn in a half an hour workout, and how much you burn if you just moved around. As we move around, walk around, actually there's more calories burned outside of exercise. And so we can amp that up. We can walk instead of drive our car. We can do little toe raises. We can do things. We can walk around. We can, rather than get a stand-up desk. Oh, that's the other major thing that I did. I got a stand-up desk. All the difference in the world of not just hunching over. Now, you can get a desk. You can sit down at it, stand up. I have a number of desks, so I just keep mine up. But when you're sitting and working and your back is straight and there's no pressure on your spine and you can set it exactly, this little button that sets it exactly the right height, super, super valuable. And then you can do little toe raises or fascia hopping. You know what fascia hopping is? You can do it with your shoes or take your shoes off. And if you can't go up on your toes and hop on your toes, just go up and down with your heels up and down. But if you can hop on your toes, that apparently has a very, very powerful impact on the fascia of your body, which is like the wetsuit that holds us all together. And that is really important. So, nutrition and physiology is pretty complex, but there are simple things we can do that make that complex system really work better. The other thing that I do is I tend to my mental fitness. I've practiced TM forever and ever. That is a very, very powerful baseline practice that lets me settle down a couple times a day and kind of get off the merry-go-round. It's really a great thing. About 3 years ago, I found positive intelligence based on work done at Stanford. And it is kind of middleware. It operates partially on the experiential level, partly on the cognitive level. And one of the great business people in town here just finished her last program. She goes, Bob, I never in a million years could have guessed that this would make such a difference. And it did. And so I went through the program 3 years ago, and I realized that there were some things about my behavior and thinking where the last mile wasn't quite hooked up, where just things that we kind of let ourselves off the hook or we're a little sloppy about, or maybe they're old patterns where the crust hasn't quite broken up. And so I have applied intelligence coaching, appliedintelligencecoaching.com, and you can go there and take a look at the thing. If you feel like you could be sharper mentally and be more resilient and more effective with other people, then Positive Intelligence Program is really good. And I do the little practices every day, and I use the mental constructs every day. And frankly, it really keeps me out of trouble because you'd have to know how to know me when I was 19. There was some of that residual still bleeding over, like that not really nice guy who used to live in me a lot. And so I do that. And then I would say the other thing that I do that I would highly recommend is become active civically. Give back to other people. I think there's a reason why service clubs exist and have existed in various forms forever. Because, as they say, man does not live by bread alone. The physical part of life, it's all very important. But the emotional part of life is exceptionally important. Relationships are exceptionally important. We have the close relationships, our spouse or our significant other, our family, but our community is a big old family, right? And if we do for our community, now we can define our community as Fairfield or Jefferson County or the state of Iowa or the country of the United States or the whole world. We can have varying definitions of community. But what I've found is that if I can carve off projects like, the great weed team.
The great weeding. I love that term.
No, we actually have a debate. Should it be weeds team, which would be a little bit more specific, or weed team, and leave them guessing? So we decided that
it's like the North Side Strippers group.
Right.
It's a quilting group.
We decided we would keep our traditional name of the weed team and just let people guess. So I saw what Deborah Williamson, our wonderful, wonderful Deborah Williamson, was doing with the Beautification Commission. And I tend to gravitate toward people who are very dynamic, who have a vision, who simply, very sweetly, don't take no for an answer. And I saw all those things in Deborah. And so I volunteered a couple of times. I'm pretty good at picking up trash and stuff like that. And so I asked her, is there like a spot on the Beautification Commission? She says, well, yeah, as a matter of fact, you want to join us? I said, sure. So when I got on, I said, what is the one thing that really bothers me about Fairfield? There's a lot of wonderful things. Weeds in the sidewalk, weeds in the street are not my favorite. In fact, they bothered me. And I remember for years saying, if I brought my tools and stuff downtown, give me a couple hours, I could really have this place in shape. Well, okay, about 250 hours later and 3 months and
lots of volunteers.
It always takes a little more time than you anticipate.
It always takes more time than you think. We've gotten the town pretty much weed-free. And actually, Mike Carr, who is one of my great fellow weeders, he's really stuck with me, particularly as of late, doing 11-hour days and that kind of thing. Well, Aaron had a whole bunch of their folks downtown.
Good job, Aaron Lifestyle Technology.
Good job, Aaron. Oh, my gosh. So Deborah had people deployed all over the nodes, all over the place. But I took 2 guys, and Mike Carr and myself, and we cleaned out behind a building in the little alley between Thrive and Asai. And, it's back behind the building. No one pays much attention. Do you realize what impact it creates when you have a weedy, overgrown area and all of a sudden it's nice and neat? even if people don't see it, but they actually do because they can drive down the alleys. So, this was something that I could do that would make a real difference. And so the fourth domain that I think people really are actually happier if they pay attention to is do something for other people. And maybe it was, my mother had two expressions that drove us nuts as kids, but they've turned out to be pretty good. First one was love your enemies, it'll drive them crazy. And second of all, I'm actually not remembering the exact, it was something like pray for a good harvest, but keep hoeing.
Yeah.
And the third was when we were bored or out of sort or whatever, my mother would say, well, run along and do something nice for someone else and you'll feel better. And that never made us feel better, but it stuck with us. So I would say that, being civically engaged is great for the community, but it's even greater for us. It's very altruistic, but it's also very oriented toward our own state of mental health because we are hardwired. I mean, we grew up in our evolutionary history in bands of people, and the lone hunter-gatherer became lunch for some animal. So we are hardwired in the deep part of our brain to want to be together, need to be together, and to need to be useful for our band. And so there's something really great, I'm convinced, great physiologically and psychologically that happens when you do for other people. And look at you two, and Jason, all the stuff you do. And Mandy, I don't know how we deserved you, but we must have done, collectively, we must have done something really good to deserve you. But it's fun. Even if it's tiring, it's fun, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I can't tell you how much fun I do have, even though I do tend to stay in the background and things of that nature. But watching everything get orchestrated and having it go according to plan or go smoothly as possible, that's a great thing to see. And I get to see all the different people involved in things and know how much goes into doing this stuff. And it's a community effort. And I want to say Fairfield is probably one of the more community-based thinking towns that I've ever been a part of in my life. Yeah. So
absolutely. All right. Good. So the other thing that my friend Bob Ferguson has done is he has helped us become named one of the top 7 most intelligent communities in the world. And we recently had a visitor who came and visited us and apparently left astonished by how great we are. I mean, come on, everybody knows, but tell me the story about the Intelligent Community Forum. See, I got it right that time.
You got it. And before I do that, I want to tip my hat to Jason for being our guy at Traction Thursdays.
Yes.
Traction Thursdays would be significant if the people were there and they could just see that, but all of those beautiful recordings. And even if when he isn't there, I do the best to record, and he does his magic and makes it look really good. But, having that archive, I think that's another thing that's really unique about Fairfield is how deeply archived we are. From
between
Dick
him and Berner.
Yeah, I mean, our town archivist and Dick with the Fairfield.
Yes.
How many towns have a Fairfield history series that wins Emmys, for crying out loud? I mean, it's not exactly your home videos.
Definitely not your home videos.
Yeah,
definitely not even public access. It's a whole other stage.
It's a whole
above
different,
and beyond.
Yeah, it's a different level, and you're so deeply involved with that, Jason. So back to Top 7 and Intelligent Community Forum. I have been part of a group of thinkers and doers around the country, and one of them was basically the head of IT for the city of Columbus, Ohio. And in that capacity, he bumped into the Intelligent Community Forum, which is an organization that started about 25 years ago with the express mission to ring the bell for communities to pay attention to broadband. Because it seems astonishing that anyone at any time wouldn't know about broadband. It wasn't well known. It was, maybe we need it, maybe we don't. What's wrong with dial-up? And so they started to ring the bell. And One of the ways they decided to do it is to have a competition for the most intelligent community in the world, because their assessment was without good broadband access, it was hard for the community to be intelligent because it couldn't communicate. You couldn't have the kind of things that we take for granted here in Fairfield. And so that was the genesis of it. But then it developed beyond, do you have broadband, and what are you doing with broadband? And what are you doing with workforce development? And what are you doing with overall connectivity? And what are you doing with digital inclusion? And what are you doing with engagement? And what are you doing with sustainability? So there's 6 parameters. I think I might have missed one, but there's 6 parameters that the organization has developed themselves into. And because they have been for at least 20 years getting hundreds, I think 400 plus communities, sure not in the beginning, but now 400 plus communities around the world give very detailed assessments to begin with. And that has how much of this and that do you have, and then you can focus, you can highlight one project in your town in each of those 6 areas of, parameters of concern for them. And so from those assessments, a review team of business professors and economic developers, people around the country, they look at those, and there's about 400 plus that come in every year, and they winnow it down to 21. Now, there may be many wonderful things about community, but this particular that may not be measured by that. But this particular organization measures those parameters, and they're quite broad. If you're good in all 6 of those, you're good. I mean, you really have got a lot of stuff going. So they look at all of the assessments come in, and then they winnow that down to 21. Let's call the Smart 21. Then those Smart 21 communities have an opportunity to do a narrative, which is to take all 6 of those areas and build out 3 exemplar projects, things that are happening in the community that would demonstrate kind of our best shot in all of those things. And another different review committee comes, and they winnow the 21 to, the 21 to 7. And so once you make the top 7, you've put your narrative in and you've been chosen the top 7 among the 21, then you have a site visitor, an auditor, who comes in and says, okay.
Make sure you're not fibbing.
Well, are these, because, sometimes a project is ongoing. Sometimes it's complete. Occasionally it's a gleam in the eye. We don't generally put those in, but I did put one gleam in the eye. It's a really incredible project that has not started yet, but I made sure that I told them that. And it was in the AI space, which was kind of extra credit. So in any case, when you make top 7, you get an auditor. Well, we competed 3 years ago, and to my, I think, a bit surprise, we made the Smart 21. And because we're competing oftentimes with cities with millions of people.
I was going to say I think I remember during a council meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, we're one of or the smallest community that's been competing on this level type deal. Is that?
Well, there are other smaller communities, but to kind of continue the narrative. So 3 years ago, we made the Smart 21. We weren't named to the top 7, but they did ask me to come and talk to the Global Summit in New York City, which I did in October of 2023, and it was quite a hit. The founders said, you weren't chosen by the review team for top 7, but we're interested in you. Will you please come to New York and talk about Fairfield? So we did. Last year, we competed again. We made it to the Smart 21, but we did not make it the top 7. This year, we refined our narrative, and I frankly got a little help from the executive director who says, why don't you take this and that out? This is really cool, but may not score all that well. So we were kind of buffed up a little bit, appropriately, and we made top 7, which is pretty astonishing. Now, that's where, Jason, the reality dawns that we are the smallest community by far that has ever won a top 7 in the 20 plus years of the competition. And this is not like the official vacuum cleaning of the Olympics. It's like a real thing. You know, as the founders say, if you win, you win. You win on a scoring system, and they just score it up. And the communities that score the highest among the parameters that they look at make it to the Smart 21, make it to the top 7. So we had our site review, a wonderful fellow named Doug McCullough, who was the Chief Information Officer for Dublin, Ohio, arguably the kind of the hottest growing city in that central Ohio creativity belt. And now he runs a advanced transportation corridor. And so he was really interested in Fairfield. I met him in New York. So he was delighted when he pulled the straw that said, you're going to Fairfield. A, it wasn't Turkey, so it was a little bit shorter flight. And second of all, he said, I really wanted to see for myself what you guys were doing, because there's clearly something in the water there. There's clearly something that's really unusual. And so he came, and we toured Wednesday and Thursday from early morning to late at night. And I've done a lot of tours, and I'm pretty active, so I see things happening. There is something so extraordinary when you have someone who is a very informed outsider, and you're taking them from one place to another, to another, to another, and you start seeing this fractal pattern of development, a particular way things have developed here, repeated again and again and again and again. And I think that's what he, among many things that he took away, that there is something about the way we think and the way we connect with each other. As you pointed out, Jason, this is a very connected community. Yeah, we're a little weird sometimes, but who isn't?
We lean in. It's okay.
Exactly.
We resemble that, right? But as I tell people, I would much rather be part of a really, really passionate community that occasionally shoots at the wrong target, as opposed to an apathetic community. I mean, we're fabulous in that way. So he left saying, I'm going to write a really good report. Now, unfortunately, we don't get to see that report. That's proprietary to inside the organization. But he said, I can tell you what I put in my report. And so now I think what we're going to be doing, since everyone's watching this, I think we were going to have Doug come next Thursday by Zoom and give us a report about his report. But since it's manufacturer's luncheon, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to suggest to everyone they pony up their $50 and come to the convention center, because every time I go to the manufacturer's luncheon, I realize that the manufacturing sector, and this is another thing that we didn't get to spend as much time as I would have chosen, but Doug had a lot of information about our ultra-powerful manufacturing sector. For a small town, when people ask me, what's Fairfield like? It's so like Pittsburgh, only smaller. I mean, we have everything that a large city has.
Absolutely.
We have foundries, we have rail sidings, we have this, we have that. So anyway, so that's what's going to happen. Next Thursday, we're going to, anyone who comes to Traction Thursday is invited to sign up at the chamber, go to Manufacturers Luncheon, then we'll kind of move the schedule around and have Doug the next week. So that's the story. And we are going...
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. And
you're going to Vietnam?
Exactly.
Is that right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Now I did invite one person. He said, I'm about as enthusiastic about going to Vietnam now as I was in 1968. So he was clearly not the person to be a delegate. On the other hand, there are many of us who are super excited to go to Vietnam. They have all the little promo videos and everything. And when I was in New York and I was at the Global Summit, where they have a fancy dinner, and after a lot of, tension, happy tension, the winner is announced. Well, the Binh Duong region of Vietnam won that year. And so this is where we are having the Global Summit that happens every year. Last year it was in Spain. Was it Spain? I don't remember. Anyway, this year it's going to be in Vietnam. And so there's a lot of promo videos and that kind of thing. But the presentation that they made was just astonishing. This particular region was going down a path of normal industrialization with all the pollution and shanty towns. And the people just said, no, this is not what we want. So they worked with a guy who had gotten Eindhoven in Holland to #1 earlier, like in 2011 or something like that. So he worked with this region for about 8 years. And they doing amazing things, like building housing where people can buy, it's not a big house, but a house for $5,000 US.
Wow.
And so it's not shanty towns. It's property. They're property owners. Lots of different things. Lots of things in the sustainability space. So they weren't ruining their environment while they were industrializing, because before this had been strictly an agrarian kind of area. So we have till Friday. If anyone wants to be part of the delegation, it's not very much money. It's $1,750 for an entire week, hotels in the fanciest hotels, and food, everything, lodging, transportation, the whole thing for $1,750. So if you feel like you would like to represent Fairfield, come on down. We can do it. You got to get a hold of me right away. So that's pretty exciting, isn't it?
So exciting. I hope we win. I am not going to lie. Wow. And I don't think anybody understands. This is not like this super easy, very limited application. This is like pages and pages and pages. It's like trying to get a federal grant. Okay. Like this is major. And Bob was really gracious in having some other people review it and make suggestions, like maybe not focus on this and focus on this, help get all those links together. Like he's put so much time and effort into this.
Well, I had good partners. And as the years went along, it was easier and easier to kind of build off of what we had done the year before. Yeah. So I'd always go to Mindy and to Connie and to Ed and to other people and say, okay, what do we need to look at? Because there's too much stuff going on here to fit. Yeah. There's more than 18 projects. And so one of the great privileges of this was for me to get more in-depth knowledge about my community. That, I thought I knew quite a lot, but when you start really looking at everything, so there's vast swaths of what people do that I'm not involved with at all. So I still by no means touched everything, but I touched a lot. And it really gave me such an additional sense of pride.
Yeah. Well, and we here at Win Leadership, right? I mean, and we do a small amount of tours every single month. And we have people who are like, I've lived here my whole life and I've never heard of that company, or I've never been in that company. I didn't know what that person did. I didn't know that this was available. So education is super important.
Yep.
And we love Bob Ferguson. And this is only like 4 of his hats. Okay. And he's got like 27. So we're going to say thank you to Bob. If you want to go to Vietnam, you can go to our business directory and look up Bob Ferguson. He is a chamber member, of course. And let him know about that. He can tell you all about the Shackley products. I use Shackley products. I think I agree with everything that he says. I also did the positive intelligence, which I'm a real high-strung person, and it helps me to stay more calm and focused. I'm not as go right directly to red hot, gonna poke somebody's eye out like I used to be. I have more calming. I know how to recenter myself. I know who my saboteurs are. So definitely reach out to Bob if you're interested in any of that. Even if you're just curious, he can give. And with Bob, you say, Bob, I need the elevator pitch, or I need the full version, because I love my Bob. But sometimes it's much like going to Carnegie Museum. You have to tell him, I have 1 hour for leadership and not a minute more, Jake. So get a hold of Bob. Go to the business directory, find his number, his email, and thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you, Manny. Thank you.
Absolutely.
What a pleasure, and what a pleasure to be with all of you.
And the RSVP for Manufacturers Appreciation Luncheons are due by Monday, because I have to make sure we have plenty of food, because I do not want to run out, but I don't want to have a ton left. Get signed up for Chamber Chatter. Don't miss anything, and be an informed citizen. Watch the city council meetings. Watch those supervisor meetings. You can get signed up at on the city's website, so you get notifications about all the different things that are happening. Be educated. It's much better to know what's going on than have to react when you find out from a neighbor who heard it from a neighbor.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, get plugged in, go to fairfieldiowa.com, get signed up for all the different things. Tune in to Fairfield Media Center, fairfieldmediacenter.com. If you're on YouTube, search Fairfield Media Center, Fairfield, Iowa. Again, will be one of the first things you pull up. We cover a whole wide variety of things going on in Fairfield. We're on social media, so we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on X. We're on all the different places. So again, be involved, stay connected, know what's going on, and we'll see.
Do something nice for somebody else.
Exactly. Do something kind for your neighbor. And in the meantime, we'll be back next week.